Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV. I'm recovering from laryngitis, but we're going to get back to work here with a review of this new TV tuner from ADTH that the broadcast industry says is a great solution for tuning into encrypted ATSC 3 television signals. The reality, though, is that just like all the other ones we've looked at, it's not very good and you're going to run into trouble with this. But we're going to dive into it, see what works and see what doesn't. And before we do, I want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that I paid for this with my own funds. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own. No one is paying for this review, nor has anyone reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. So let's get into it now and see what this tuner is all about. Now, the price point on this comes in at $69. It is made in China, so I expect that the price will go up likely due to tariffs when their next shipment comes in. Now, this is designed to plug into an Android, Google, or Fire TV device via USB. I tried it with a number of devices, and it only fully worked on one of them. So the one that I had the best luck with here was the On 4K Pro box that we reviewed a little while back. It plugged right into its USB port. Everything worked fine. I'll show you how it worked in a few minutes. That was great. But when I tried the NVIDIA Shield, a very popular and powerful Android TV device, everything worked except encrypted channels. Here we go again. So when you played an ATSC 3 encrypted channel, you got the first frame of video and then it froze up and didn't work at all. The unencrypted channels worked just fine. Sound familiar? We also tried an on stick. This performed exactly the same as the Shield did. Now for these stick devices, you have to get something else to plug everything in because these only have a single micro USB port on the back. So I have this neat little device here that sends power in and then gives you a USB hub to connect everything up. And to my surprise, most of the functionality worked with the exception of those encrypted channels. And remember, this was supposed to be the solution to encryption on your own devices. I also tried a Fire TV device here, the Fire TV Stick 4K Max. Once again, DRM did not work on this device. I didn't get a frozen frame though. I got a message saying that DRM wasn't supported on the platform, and I made sure the firmware was fully up to date. It just didn't work with the Fire TV as advertised, although I was able to get ATSC 3 unencrypted channels and ATSC 1 channels. So for a device that is being sold as a solution to this DRM problem, only one of the 4 devices that I tried with it actually worked. And I've heard from a lot of viewers ahead of shooting this video who've had very similar issues. Beyond the encryption problem, you've got another one, which is support for Dolby AC4 audio, which ATSC 3 uses. And if your device doesn't support AC4, it won't work either. And unfortunately, most devices don't report whether they have support for that audio format or not. So it really is a crapshoot here as to whether or not this device is going to work in your environment. Buyer beware. So let's get into, though, how it works, because in most cases, the ATSC 1.0 broadcast will work just fine. Setup was pretty easy here. You just download the ADTH app off of the App Store and do your installation. Once it is installed, you have to give your device permission to access the tuner over USB. I found that I had to give access to it every time I loaded the app up, which was a bit annoying. But once you do that, it will do a channel scan, update the firmware on the tuner here, and you're off and running watching television. The guide is pretty nice and pretty easy to work with. You've got 2 different guides. One pops up in the top of the screen to allow you to quickly switch between channels because you don't have a channel up or down button, as it uses the remote that came with your Android device. You also have a channel grid you can pop up, and I found it populated all of the programming information on there pretty accurately and quickly. You can scroll ahead to other broadcasts that come on later, but you can't record anything with this device as it doesn't have DVR functionality. Additionally, it allows you to pause live TV and then jump ahead to the live portion of that program if you wanted to jump to where it is currently broadcasting, but you can't rewind live television nor record it. So very limited functionality here, mostly playback only. Now, like their standalone box, every time you tune into an ATSC 3 channel that has interactive content, it's going to put that interactive content up, and it requires multiple button pushes to dismiss it. And that happens every time you tune into the channel. It is quite annoying. But one thing I liked, and I think a lot of you might like too, is the extensive information you can get on a channel when you pull up the stats page. It is by far the most detail-oriented statistics page I've seen on any ATSC 3 tuning device to date, and that is a welcome feature. Now, unfortunately, at the time that I'm recording this video, it does not work with phones or tablets. It won't let you install the app on a phone or tablet, only a TV device. And I did check some of the APK mirror sites to see if there might be an APK I could sideload on, but right now I couldn't find one. So at the moment, it is TV only. Again, it will only install on Android, Google TV, or Fire TV devices. Compatibility is going to be a mixed bag, and it won't work with Apple TV, with Roku, with your iOS devices, or your PC. It is very much limited because of the DRM. And that brings us to this next topic I want to cover, which is the cost of DRM. So case in point, this DRM compatible device currently costs $69.99 on Amazon. But for the last year, you could pick up this device from GT Media for $17 less. It supports ATSC 3, but not the DRM. And it plugs into any Android device with almost universal compatibility. And it even works with mobile devices. And they do have plans, or did have plans, to expand further, but the DRM impediments made it not worth the investment. You can actually find this device as low as $30 on AliExpress right now. So it really shouldn't cost this much to make some kind of hybrid tuning device for existing TV platforms. One bonus that the GT Media device has is that it can also function as a DVR because there's an SD card slot on it, and you could actually record programming on there, which is far more functionality than you get out of this one that was blessed by the broadcasters and their DRM regime. So we are still in a position here where we've got the broadcasters asking the FCC to transition to this new technology. This is the stuff they're giving us that barely works. We could have been paying a lot less by now with a lot more innovation in the marketplace, but because they've restricted things so severely, this is what you get. So we're going to talk later in the week about the FCC seeking public comment about this very DRM topic. We're going to talk more about how you can get your voice submitted there, but you can see after 2 years of this DRM experiment, they still haven't got it to work yet. And that's a real problem, especially if this is going to become the future of over-the-air television. That'll do it for now. We'll talk more later when I've got more of a voice, and I do appreciate you all tuning in. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.